Forget the dusty portrait of a 17th century philosopher in a ruffled collar. Thomas Hobbes was a cold pragmatist who looked at humanity and saw prey. Imagine yourself in a world before laws, standing alone in the woods. Every time the shadows shift, you are entirely on your own. Hobbes called this the state of nature, driven by an ugly, constant fear of exposure. It is the terrifying knowledge that anyone can hurt, rob, or kill you, and absolutely no higher authority is coming to stop them. Without a referee, every interaction is a risk. Every neighbor becomes a calculation you must make. You might forge a temporary peace, but because no one can enforce it, you sleep with one eye open. In this natural state, human existence devolves into an endless, exhausting crisis of physical insecurity. The solitary individual is simply too vulnerable. To escape this chaos, scattered individuals made a desperate trade. They agreed to a social contract, swapping a portion of their absolute freedom for the promise of survival. Hobbes's 1651 Leviathan frontispiece visualizes this trade. People surrendered their weapons to a towering sovereign monopolizing violence. Zoom in closely. The giant's torso is built from tiny citizens. The sovereign stands above petty quarrels, replacing personal revenge with public authority. This arrangement was designed to end the war of all against all. Yet the history of the modern state is a history of industrialized slaughter. The very mechanism built to pacify individuals has presided over the most violent centuries on record. Clustering people into states didn't end the state of nature. It merely re-entered the world at scale. The conflict simply moved up a level. Individual versus individual became family versus family, then tribe versus tribe, until the struggle became state against state. And those borders keep pushing outward until we arrive at empire versus empire. Outside these borders, there is no global referee. These monolithic entities look at each other exactly like suspicious, heavily armed strangers in the dark woods. The Leviathan buys internal peace only by hoarding the capacity for violence. It protects its own by becoming an incredibly dangerous monster to everyone else. One might imagine the logical conclusion is to keep going, a single universal world state, a sovereign powerful enough to end the competition between empires once and for all. But human organization forces a choice. In a small group, you are a person. The community knows your face and your name. But that community cannot stop an invading army. To survive, the group must grow, trading that connection for a massive shield. As the organization scales up, it flattens the people inside it. To a global sovereign, you are merely a census entry, a tax unit, or a statistical inconvenience. A universal sovereign might end international war, but it would create a single, omnipresent climate where local dissent and human-scale identity are impossible. The local tyrant can be fled, but there is no exit from a system that covers the world. We tell ourselves that modern civilization defeated the brutal state of nature. But looking through the cynical lens of George Orwell, we can see the truth. The wild never left us. It was merely institutionalized. The raw, animalistic appetite for resources didn't vanish. It was dressed in a suit and rebranded as national interest. The primal fear of the neighboring tribe was sanitized into the bureaucratic language of security policy, and the brute desire to dominate others was formally codified under the title of governance. We did not banish the wolves. We brought them indoors, assigned them borders, and built them revenue offices. We grow up assuming that governments act as shields, standing between us and a brutal, primitive world. But the state itself is made of the exact same violent nature we were running from. It is simply monopolized, heavily armed, and operating at a massive scale. All the polite manners of modern diplomacy and all the treaties signed in marble rooms are a thin veil draped over concentrated violence. Hobbes was right to recognize the danger, but he mistook aggregation for escape. Humanity didn't leave the wild behind. We built a larger, more ferocious beast and decided to live inside it.